Final segment here on the Stanley Cup pod, and I am joined by three guys I know too well, and I like to refer to them as the terrifying trio. I'm here with Patrick White, Jake Rowe, Camden Mike Rance. We'll start going clockwise sitting here. Pat, how are you?
Hello, Jackson. Patrick here, second semester student over at U of I, and I'm excited to do this with everyone.
All right, Pat, it's good to hear from you. Let's now go to Jake Rowe.
How's it going? My name's Jake Rowe. I am also, I'm a third-year student here at U of I, and I am juiced to get ready and get into this NHL podcast.
All right, Jake, nice introduction there. And now let's go finally over to Cam there.
I also am a first-year student at U of I. My name is Camden Mike Rance, as Jackson said. CNR major, and looking forward to talking about some playoffs, and hopefully these Bad Boy Bruins will take the Stanley Cup at the end.
It would be a nice little tribute to their announcer who just retired. Now, I wanted to start with this, guys, and I want to kind of do this like Price is Right style. So I was going to ask this as a trivia question, but I thought, you know what, this might be fun to include in the segment. And I want to just get each of your guys' guesses. And like I said, we'll do this kind of like Price is Right style. So closest to the actual answer or closest to the actual number without going over will win. And the question is, how much does the Stanley Cup weigh? And Pat, we'll start with you.
Oh, boy. How much does the Stanley Cup weigh? Are we talking about pounds? Are we going in pounds?
Yes, this is America, Pat.
Thank you. 47 pounds.
47 pounds. All right, that's an interesting guess. All right, let's go to Jake.
What do we take away from that response? I don't know. I'm going to go 32.3 pounds.
32.3 pounds. That's a oddly specific response or guess, but, I wouldn't say that's a bad guess. All right, let's go to Cam.
I'm going to say, just thinking back on all the trophy lifts over all the years, they seem to do it pretty easily. So I'm going to say I'm going to go a little lighter. I'll say 16 pounds.
What is this guy on?
16 pounds. All right, thank you, Cam. And very interesting predictions, boys. So once again, Pat, you had 47. Jake, you had 32.3.
That's correct, 32.3 on the money.
And Cam guessed 16. The actual weight of the Stanley Cup is 35 pounds.
Let's
freaking
go! Wait, sorry, that was a little loud on the levels, but I'm just so excited here.
Yeah, 47's a little much.
That's hefty.
47's a little much.
I have a question. I have a question.
Yes, go ahead, Jake.
Are all our mics on right now?
Yeah.
I feel like you should leave all the mics on at all times.
Hold on, that was okay. I'm gonna have him.
I just want to make sure that when I'm talking,
so we
that
can
I'm not-
converse. This has got to be a podcast.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, we're all set now. We're just kind of warming up in here.
We're
We're feeling good.
Actually, you know what? Should we just start the whole thing, or I don't know?
Oh, roll with that. That was great.
That was
Okay,
great,
let's
and you
go.
can cut it up however you want to cut it
Okay.
up, my brother.
Okay, because some things I didn't get. All right. Moving.
What'd you not get?
Wait, which parts did you not get?
Whatever Patches said a moment ago.
No,
That's fine.
it's
That's
okay.
that's
It's
one
okay.
shot.
We'll
It's
just
good.
keep them up. And
Just keep it rolling.
Yeah,
We're not going to talk over each other, Mega.
Okay.
Mega.
Moving forward here, as we wind down this show, it's time for us to give our final predictions here for round one. Now that we know all the matchups that will be taking place in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and once again, we'll just kind of go in a circle here. So I'll start us off, and then we'll go to Pat, then we'll go to Jake, then we'll go to Cam. And for the first round, we'll start in the East because that one was set first. The first matchup we will have tomorrow will be the Carolina Hurricanes, the number 2 seed in the Metropolitan Division, taking on the 3rd seed in the Metropolitan Division, the New York Islanders. And interesting thing here, guys, is that this was a matchup that we had in round 1 last year that the Hurricanes won in 6 games. And I think there's a little bit of a revenge factor here. So I'm going to take the Islanders here in this series, and I'm going to say this series also goes 6 games.
Can I look at the bracket real quick?
Yeah.
Where are we at in here? Down there.
Excuse me.
Is that
So
Carolina?
we're covering Islanders,
It's
Hurricanes right now.
Hurricanes, yep, okay.
Islanders, Hurricanes.
Okay.
And Pat's up.
I'm taking the
Islanders versus Hurricanes. Big Knicks fan. I got the Islanders.
Yep, I'm, personally a huge fan of contrasting colors, and I think orange and blue is just great. It looks good for the Mets. Looks good for the Knicks. I think I'm gonna have to rock with the Islanders here. Support those guys over at in the Big Apple.
I'm gonna have to take the Hurricanes because they used to be the Connecticut. They used to be the Hartford Whalers. So.
Tough time to be a fan of
Yeah.
hurricanes. You know, a lot of natural disasters increasing here.
All
I'm
right.
gonna take Carolina.
All right. Next matchup we have the President's Trophy winning God damn it.
You're
I
right.
gotta keep that.
See, that's why we keep everything.
Yeah.
All right, moving along here. Next matchup we have is the President's Trophy New York Rangers, the #1 seed in the Metropolitan. They are going to be taking on the Washington Capitals, and that's always a fun series. And I think the Rangers are going to get it done. The Caps just barely snuck in, taking that spot over Detroit and Pittsburgh. I'm going to say the Rangers here, and I'm going to say they get it done in 5.
I'll probably have to agree with Jackson. I got the Rangers here. I got them taking it in 4, actually. I got a little sweep.
As a patriot, I have to say that I can't betray my country. That would be treason. So I'm going to have to go with Washington in this series.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to second that opinion with Jake. Also because I'm a Patriot. Go Pats.
Yeah.
But also Ovechkin's sick, and I appreciate Ovechkin, so I'll root for his team.
All right, next matchup we have in the East is the Atlantic Division, where we have the 2nd seed Bruins taking on the 3rd seeded Maple Leafs. And the Maple Leafs, actually, they were able to finally get out of round 1 for the first time last year in 19 years. They go up against a tough Boston team. I don't think they have it. I'm going to take the Bruins here, but they always play each other well. I think this is going to be a 7-game series.
7 games, Jackson. I like it. I'm going to agree with you on the Bruins taking this series. I'm going to go 1 game down and say they're taking it in 6. Cam's going to appreciate that one, and I can see him smiling across the table.
Yeah, so in my opinion, I really love maple syrup, but I think, cheering for a Canadian team again would be totally sacrilegious as an American. But I'm going to have to go with Boston. I think they're going to take it in 5.
Yeah, I agree. I think Boston's gonna take it. Leafs are a cool team, fine and all, but I think Boston's for sure taking it. I do think it's going to be a good series. I agree. I don't know if it's going to go as far as 7 games, but I do think it's going to be into that 5 to 6 game series. So go Bruins.
All right, final matchup we have here in the first round on the East side is the Atlantic Division champion Florida Panthers. Of course, they made it all the way to the Stanley Cup final last season, where unfortunately they fell in 5 games to the Vegas Golden Knights. They are going to be taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning, who last year lost in the first round to the Toronto Maple Leafs. So a little bit of redemption for them as they won back-to-back cups in 2020 and 2021. But I'm still going to roll with the Florida Panthers here. I'm going to say Florida wins, and I'm going to say this is a 6-game series.
Panthers in 5.
I'm going to have to say this is tough because 2 Florida teams, you can never win in that series. I'd say, given that my high school changed its name to the Lightning because Quakers was too controversial.
Hey, can't say that on here.
We will have to be cheering for the Tampa Bay Lightning in the series. Let's go.
Correct.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna take. I don't like either of these teams. I don't like any Florida hockey teams, but Tampa Bay Lightning I don't like either, and the Florida Panthers I don't like. But yeah, but the Florida Panthers, I think they're gonna win it. Tuchuk is a dog. Tuchuk is a dog. So
He's certainly not a bog.
he is not a bog. He is a dog.
They got
Chuck-
bogs out in Florida, though. Florida and your mother.
But yeah, let's go Panthers, and the Bruins will see him in the Eastern. Actually, they'll see him in round 2, so hopefully they get the dub. I'm making an early prediction. Sorry, Jack.
All right, so interesting guesses here on the East side. Let's move over to the West, in which we did not have it set until last night when the season wrapped up, of course. The Vegas Golden Knights, they choked against the Anaheim Ducks. They had the number 3 in the Pacific locked up. All they had to do was secure a point against Anaheim, and, of course, they lost. So the LA Kings, who beat the Chicago Blackhawks, jumped them and took that 3rd seed in the Pacific. So the Vegas Golden Knights, the second wildcard team, they're going to be taking on the top team in the conference, the champions out of the Central Division, the Dallas Stars. It's a rematch of last year's Western Conference Final. It's going to be an interesting series, but I think the Stars are going to prevail. I'm going to take Dallas here, and I'm going to take Dallas in 6.
Dallas in 6, Jackson. I'm going to go with Vegas, man. I mean, look at them. That's a knight. Look at them. That's a knight. Black, gold, gray, you
and
name
he's
it.
golden.
That's
And he's golden.
exactly what I was going to say.
Vegas in 7.
Yeah, I do consider myself to be a star, but shoot, there's something about those Golden Knights that really just get me going. So I think, I'm going to have to follow what floats my boat, and I'm going to have to pick Vegas. And actually, I think Vegas might win this in 6 games.
I like those picks. Jackson, I have a couple questions for you regarding the Stars.
Sure.
I know that an old Bruins player from the 2011 Stanley Cup used to play on the Stars. Is he still on the Stars?
You'd have to be more specific.
It's the guy with black hair, and he was a defenseman. He was like prime Stars player back in like 2015-16.
Are you talking about Yager?
No. I think it's an S last name. He's a maybe I can figure it out myself. But anyway,
Storgmeyer?
No.
Stoinky Winky?
Sadly. But did you ever watch the Dude Perfect Dallas Stars video? He was in that video.
Ooh, that's a
Oh, there you
very
go.
good
Jackson,
guess.
I know you love Dude Perfect.
If Jackson
Yeah.
doesn't remember this, he is a fake fan. A fake fan.
You remember
Are you
that
kidding
video,
me?
though?
I even remember.
Yeah, but they've made 2 videos with the Dallas Stars. so-
Oh,
No,
boy.
the first video, the very first video.
Hey, Jamie, pull it up.
I'm pulling, yeah, hockey, or Dallas Stars.
Are you?
But anyway,
Are you referring to the video they did with Jamie Benn and Tyler Sagan?
correct. Tyler Sagan. Tyler
Hey,
Sagan.
bing, bing.
Yeah.
Winner,
Tyler
chicken dinner.
Sagan. He used to play for the Bruins, correct?
That I am unsure.
Okay.
Are you sure, though, Camden? Are you sure?
I'm pretty certain. I'm pretty certain Sagan played for the Bruins. So
I believe Tyler Sagan is no longer in the league.
damn it. Sorry. Let me see.
I guess he
Yeah.
is still with the Stars.
Ha
Correction on that.
Was he on the...
Sagan
check if he
is
was
still
the,
on
if
the
he was
Stars.
Bruins.
He was in the Bruins in 2011. It should be.
He went to Boston High School.
Oh, that makes sense, maybe.
There we go. Let's see.
Did you go to Boston U?
Yeah, he was on the Bruins too.
Nice.
Okay. So, being a Nevadan, I'm gonna rep the Knights, and they're cool and all, but fuck Vegas. So, go Stars.
All right, next up we have the 2nd seed in the Central Division, the Winnipeg Jets. They are going to be taking on number 3, the Colorado Avalanche, who went on a little bit of a losing streak to end the season, dropped them to the 3 seed in the West, or in the Central Division, I should say. But this is one that won't surprise me if it happens. I'm going to take Colorado here. They're known for going pretty far in the Stanley Cup. I'm going to take Colorado here, and I think it's going to be a quick series. I don't think it's going to be a sweep, but I'm going to take Colorado in 5.
Wow. You got 3 versus the 2 taken in 5, Jackson. That's big, huh? Well, my San Jose Sharks took out the Avalanche 6 times out of 6 this year.
Are you serious?
Wait, say that again.
The San Jose Sharks took out the Avalanche 6 games out of 6 this year.
That's a fact.
I'm lying. I've got the Colorado Avalanche in 6.
That was so mean. Okay, yeah. So personally, I'm a big fan of Colorado. I really love it out there. So yeah, I think no experience in Winnipeg, but gonna have to say because of the talent depth they have on the roster for the Colorado Avalanche. They got Mikko Rantanen and Nathan McKinnon leading the charge. For 'em. And, the experience last year winning their 2nd Stanley Cup, they're coming back with a core group of guys that really have some solid experience.
They won 2 years ago.
Boo.
Ooh, sorry. See, I actually don't watch NHL hockey. But
Last year was the Vegas Golden Knights.
well, that's why I picked them the last thing. And also, home ice advantage. They're high altitude. It's going to be really hard for those other teams to keep up with them. We're having some interesting mic things going on. And yeah, so basically I'm just going with the Avs in this one, and I'm going to say they're not quite going to sweep them, but I agree about 5 games.
I'm gonna have to second that. Probably go Avalanche.
Wow.
The family,
4 for 4.
The family lives in Colorado, and also, just as Jake said, they won 2 years ago. So I don't think the Winnipeg Jets are gonna lose to them, even though, and are gonna beat them. Sorry, I don't think the Winnipeg Jets are gonna beat them. So go Avalanche.
That's a really bad microphone, so you feel free to hold that really close because I can barely hear you.
You can barely hear me. How about now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay,
Chickadee
I'm
check.
gonna talk like real
Chickadee
close.
check.
If you talk like, yeah, like
I'm gonna talk like I'm fucking Adam Levine singing.
Adam
Oh
Levine.
yeah,
Adam Levine singing.
He was the sexiest.
And
man
Morgan
alive.
Whalen,
Don't
huh,
put him
Cam?
Fucking
all right,
motherfucker got a felony now.
all right.
He's got a
in.
felony.
Chairs
Yeah.
all over the
Throwing
place.
chairs off of bars, dude.
Morgan Whalen?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he said the bad
He said the one.
And he said it. Sorry, Jack.
Not a good guy. Not a good guy.
All right, progressing now.
Charlie Crockett is dope.
We're big fans of Charlie Cockett. I mean, wait.
Uh-oh.
Might have to exit that one out.
All right, progressing forward. Our next series is the #1 seed in the Pacific Division, the Vancouver Canucks,
Whoa.
and they're going to be taking on the Nashville Predators. This seems interesting. Vancouver is in the playoffs for the first time in quite a bit of time,
Nashville's got a cool story going though.
and I think I hate to do
They
this
shouldn't have
to
made
my sister, and I know she loves her Preds, but this is going to be the one series I think Vancouver sweeps Nashville.
Whoa.
Wow, because I was going Nashville in about 7 probably, and you just pulled out the sweep card, Jimmy Jack.
Sorry, sis.
Yeah, I'm going Nashville in 7.
Yeah.
Don't know what else to say. Look at those teeth.
I'm going down to Nashville to visit my sister in June, so I might have some regrets, but I still think Vancouver's going to sweep them.
You guys will battle it out
They're too good.
with your fists.
Yeah. So shoot, this is really hard. First question: what is a Canuck?
It's a Canadian term.
It looks like a fish of
It's
some
a
sort.
whale.
Okay, it's a whale or something.
I've caught 3 of them.
That is pretty cool. With his bare hands, he says. Let's go.
They also lost in the Stanley Cup to the Bruins in 2011.
Yep, that was a
Interesting,
7-game series.
Interesting. Very, I got to do some calculations. All right, so the
Go
first
Bruins.
game's at 7 p.m. Second game is at 7 p.m. in Nashville. And then the next 2 games are at home in Vancouver.
Who has more home games?
It looks like
Vancouver.
Nashville.
Vancouver is the
The upper seed?
yeah,
The higher
Oh,
seed?
I see.
Van-
Oh, no,
Van-
the first 2 games are in Vancouver.
Yep.
Okay.
Vancouver is the #1 seed in the Pacific, and
All right.
Nashville's the wild card.
So let me just go through my analysis really quick. So the first 2 games in Vancouver, correct? And then the second 2 games are in Nashville.
Correct.
And the first 2 games are at 7 o'clock, very late games. Very late games in Vancouver. Quite a bit earlier in the second 2 games, 4:30 and 2. I'm going to have to say that in Nashville, the visiting team has those earlier times, and they're going to have more time to party in Nashville afterwards. I think Nashville will at least split one of those. And the first 2 games at 7, I just think the Predators look like a much more dominant mascot. So we're going to have to go Nashville in 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to have to say 6 games. 6 games.
Riding off that party train comment, saw a little blurb today about the Predators. They shouldn't have made the playoffs, but ended up winning their
Why's
last 6. They ended up winning their last 16 of 18 games.
Wow,
after
hot streak.
Little NC State magic
Yeah,
for the Nashville
alright.
Predators.
Yeah.
there you go,
ended up
Jimmy
winning
Jack.
16 out of the last 18, and because they weren't allowed to go out when they were playing the Ducks in Anaheim. So
Wow.
I think those boys are locked in. So I'm gonna take the Preds.
How many of those how many of those 18 games did they have to win? How many games do they have to win down the line?
Did they barely by a game? Or?
Well, no, they secured their playoff spot with like a week to go because they were already locked
that's
into the
still like a
playoff.
couple
Their
games.
their
They might
s-
have won-
That's
That's
at
the
least
13 game.
their
Yeah.
seed was not determined yet, but they
Okay.
were in.
Still quite a few.
Got you.
All right. Our final series is one that we have had in the first round for the last 2 straight seasons. And yes, we have it a third time. It's the Edmonton Oilers taking on the Los Angeles Kings. And of course, the Oilers have been dominant in those series. Kings have always had the lower seed. They are the lower seed once again. But, however, I think they're going to jump over. The Kings have been pretty good. They won their final game against the Blackhawks in the regular season to get them to the number 3 seed in the Pacific Division. I'm going to roll with the LA Kings here, and I'm going to say the LA Kings get this done, but it's going to go a full length 7-game series here.
7 games, Jackson, huh? I got the Erlenmeyers. Okay. I got the Erlenmeyers in 6.
Erdlin Myers.
I'm confused.
Is that the Edmonton Oilers?
It sure is. I don't like. Yeah, Jake.
No, let's hear what you had to say.
What don't you like?
I don't like LA very much, and I don't like the Kings, but I love the Sacramento Kings. The Kings have a playing game tonight versus the New Orleans
Sacramento.
Pelicans.
This is Sacramento
Kings. Big game.
So
Big,
check it
big
out.
game.
Win or go home.
That's what we have
For
to say
never.
about that,
Yeah.
and then we're going to talk about that
This will
after.
be in the future. So see ya.
See ya in the future.
If Pat and Cam still have time.
So, I'm going to have to pick, Edmonton? Jesus. It's kind of sacrilegious.
Edmonton Oilers are Jeremiah's team.
Yes.
He loves Connor McDavid.
And, of course,
Ooh,
you know,
our
they
good
have Connor
good friend.
McDavid, Evander Kane, you know. The
Potential GOAT, question mark?
Question mark.
Connor McDavid, really?
Oh, he's very good.
Really?
Very good.
You know-
Potential GOAT, though? How old is he?
He's like in his early 30s, I think, or maybe late 20s.
Okay, so
Oh, so he's-
when do
He's been in his prime.
when do the players usually hit their end, retire in this game?
Well, in hockey, you know, they get a lot more beat up, so they retire a little bit earlier than other sports. But, you know, Ovechkin is still in the league, and he's almost 40, so.
Okay.
That guy's
It
54.
depends on the player.
My dad knows him. My dad went to elementary school with that guy. Seriously.
This is a fact.
I'll have to look it up.
Greg
So
White
who
and
you taking, Jake?
Ovechkin.
So,
38.
yeah. Oh,
He's 38.
38.
Alrighty.
Ovechkin's 38.
should I put my pick in?
Yes, you should.
Okay. And, as much as I want to support America, I still think sorry, I'm speaking a little bit far away. So, actually, let's start it over. I'm going to pick I'm always a fan of greatness in history. I want to watch history, greatness, Edmonton Oilers.
The Oilers.
I'm gonna be another one of those guys. Another sweep here, taking the Oilers because the Kings are lame. So screw them.
All right, well, those are our first round predictions, and now just kind of a speed round here, guys. I know we just did our first round selections, but I just want to get your thoughts and predictions on who you think will come out of the East and come out of the West. We'll meet in the Stanley Cup final, and we'll win the Stanley Cup final. My original prediction was going to be the Rangers against the Kings, a rematch of a Stanley Cup we had 10 years ago, exactly 10 years ago, back in 2014. But with the Kings having to play the Oilers, being the 3 seed in the Pacific, and of course, you know, there's always the curse that always comes with being the President's Trophy winners. The Rangers may not make it all the way, but I think for the first time in 11 years, because the 2013 Chicago Blackhawks were the last team to win the Stanley Cup who had also won the President's Trophy. I'm going to say it's going to be the Rangers. They're going to make it out of the East in the Stanley Cup final. They are going to be facing the Dallas Stars because I think the Dallas Stars, they're going to make a statement. They went to the Cup final 4 years ago during the shortened COVID season. And it's going to be the Dallas Stars versus the New York Rangers, and I'm going to have the Dallas Stars win the Stanley Cup, and that is going to go a full 7 games. And an interesting take here, the final score of each of those 7 games will be 2-1.
Each of them.
Each of them. 3 of the 7 will be in overtime, but the other 4 will be in regulation. I'm predicting a full 7-game series. Every single one of those games will end 2-1.
That's crazy, Jackson. You're a
Jackson,
crazy man.
Can we put a lunch on this?
Put a lunch on this.
Yeah, I bet it won't happen, like you say.
Well, I don't want to put a lunch on it because
Can we get a check on the record for lunches owed? Please?
we got this on tape. I don't have to owe all you guys lunch.
Of course not.
No, just Jake.
Just Jake.
Just me. Because
All right, I'm thinking my team out of the East.
I did bring over cheese.
Yeah, you did. Cheesy bread. I'm so
And
cheesy.
mozzarella sticks.
I'm so cheesy. Out of the East, I got the Bruins. I got the Bruins out of the East. I got to rock with Cam. Got to rock with Boston. Boston Marathon happened one time. Horrible. And out of the West, I have got the Avalanche.
Sorry.
I'm so sorry.
I'll let you continue, Pat, but I wanna point something out to you, because that's interesting. Because you were talking about the Boston bombing at the marathon. That same year, it was Boston and Toronto in the playoffs. It was not the first round; it was the second round. But that was the series. The Bruins came back in Game 7 from down 3 in the third period. They won in overtime. They ended up going all the way to the Cup final, and that was, of course, the one they lost to Chicago. And like I said earlier, that was the one Chicago won after winning the President's Trophy. So, but it's interesting that you bring that up, just because they're playing Toronto again. So I'm sorry for interrupting, and please continue.
Please, thank you for
Good little
for
callback. We like
interjecting there.
callbacks.
Yeah, I got Boston Bruins, and I said the Avalanche. I take that back. I got the Oilers. I got the Oilers versus the Boston Bruins, and I got the Oilers taking it all.
So you have the Edmonton Oilers being the first Canadian team to win the Stanley Cup since the Montreal Canadiens in 1993, 31 years ago.
That is insanity.
Did not know that. That's a cool fact.
That is actually, for those of you listening, that was one of my trivia questions. So, but the answer is already
Montreal
there.
Canadiens in 1987.
Another
Wrong.
another example of why America is great. All right, so on to the next question.
We must be good at everything.
Hey, Cam, do you want to go before me here? I'm not quite ready.
If you're not ready, I would go before you.
Then let's. I formally hand this off to you.
Okay. Thank you, Jake.
Changing things up a little bit here on the final
Who's
segment.
a bang?
switcheroo.
We warned you the final segment might get a little bit crazy here, people.
But this is out of this world. All right.
Holy
And your mother.
guacamole.
Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna be very biased here. I'm gonna take the Bruins all the way.
Surprise.
I think it's gonna be a close series. If you want my truthful and honest answer, I think round 2 against the Florida Panthers will test us. I haven't seen very many I personally haven't watched very many encounters with the Bruins and the Panthers this season yet. So I don't know how that's gonna go. But I think if we do eke that out, we could definitely win in the conference finals. Granted, you have the Rangers winning, and I don't know how good the Rangers are.
They did end with 113 points. Or, I'm sorry, 114 points.
113 wins, everybody.
No,
Hear that?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's not true because they don't even play 113 games. No, the Rangers ended. I'll have to look at the record, but they ended with 114 points because I know
similar to the Bruins last season, who lost in the first round.
Exactly.
So maybe the Rangers might lose in the first round.
Because Pat, you get 2 points for a win.
I get 2 points right now?
No,
I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. That's
in the
dumb.
NHL, how it's structured is the winning team gets 2 points. So that's how
The loser obviously gets 0, right?
The loser gets 0.
Tie is 1, or is tie anything?
So here's how the point system works in the NHL. A regulation win is 2 points.
Okay.
If the game
Just to rank them, you get a point in ranking.
They do tie. Okay.
well, yeah,
Okay,
that's how the
that's what I
rankings are determined. So like that, the point system is how the Caps got in over the Red Wings, even though the Red Wings had a better
So
record.
it's 2 for a win, 1 for a tie.
Well, there's no ties in the NHL.
Well, the Blackhawks didn't get in the playoffs.
Wait, they don't wear ties to press conferences.
So it's 2 points. So
Got 'em.
So actually, I'll just say this: whoever wins the game gets 2 points. If it's a regulation win, then the losing team, of course, gets 0 points. If the game goes to overtime, both teams get a point. But then only the team that wins in overtime or the shootout gets that second point. Got it.
So it's going to be so if a game goes to overtime,
You get a point.
it's going to be 2-1 every time. 2-1 score
In
point wise.
Point-wise,
yes.
yes.
Point system goes
'Cause
away in
the
the playoffs. It's
The
just
losing point,
ranked.
but
Well, of course, yeah.
but an interesting rule here, and we saw this in a game earlier this season between the Preds and the Wild. Minnesota pulled their goaltender in overtime because they needed to win. Of course, unfortunately, it didn't work out because they ended up losing like their next couple of games and eliminating themselves from the postseason. But per NHL rules, if the game is tied, like in any situation, if you pull the goalie, like in overtime, and they score in the empty net, you forfeit that point you won in regulation.
Whoa.
So that is
Whoa,
interesting right
Jackson.
now.
Wait, so repeat this.
Are there
again.
teams who don't understand that, or is that well understood throughout the league?
Well, the team's
Right,
pretty much
He
understand.
said something about
Okay.
forfeiting. You
That's
get
a
a
stupid
point
question.
lost.
Of course they do.
So if you forfeit, you get a point taken away. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So like what Minnesota did is they pulled their goaltender in overtime to get the extra attacker on the ice.
Sure. Yeah, that's 6-4.
But with them doing that,
forerunner.
had Nashville
Six
scored
tackers,
in the
four.
empty net because of I don't remember what section it's under in the NHL rulebook, but because they did that, if they had lost, they would forfeit the point that they had earned in regulation. Now because they pulled the goaltender because they took the advantage over
So
Nashville.
pulling the goaltender can be
A negative.
a negative.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
only in overtime, not really in regulation.
I like that rule.
Not in regulation.
Oh, okay.
Because we also
okay.
saw it at the end of the season too, where
Risque.
the
No,
Washington
it is.
Capitals
But
were
in
taking
the-
on the
in the-
Philadelphia
yeah,
Flyers,
Most power plays
and
only happen
Philadelphia
in-
pulled their goaltender late in the game, even though the game was tied, because Philadelphia needed a regulation win to keep their hopes alive. So that's why they pulled their goaltender to get the extra.
Red
attacker
Sox
on
are
the ice.
currently up 5-0. They were up 3-0 later, so they are scoring more runs, which
Yeah.
is a good thing. We like this.
Quick score updates on all the games happening. Miami, the 8th seed, is now up 42-29 on Chicago. What did I say the other day about Miami? Just crushing. Chicago.
All right, Jake, what's your Stanley Cup prediction? Or Cam, did you?
Well, no, okay, so yeah, I have my prediction finally. I'll take Boston versus Stars. Boston wins.
Finally, Jake.
So, yeah, last but not least. Let's say on the east side. Shoot. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to have to go with Boston Bruins because we are one as a household. And also, I'm going to go in the west side. West side? I'm going to go. I don't even think I picked this team. No, I got to pick a team that I picked. We're going to go Avalanche. Avalanche. Watch out for the Avalanche on the mountain because they're going to come and get you. And I'm going to take them for the dub. 2 times in 3 years. Let's go.
That was an
The beginning
avalanche.
of a dynasty.
Oh yeah.
I had one final thing here. I don't exactly remember what it was going to be, but as I said, this was going to be a wild segment. We had
Yeah.
our first round predictions. We have our Stanley Cup final predictions as well. I wanna solo Cam out here for a second because Cam
Solo him out.
he's the big Boston guy, and I want to ask him about this because we heard the news earlier, earlier this month that long time, 45 years in the Boston Bruins booth. Okay, I'm gonna start over.
Sorry.
That one got in there.
All right, I'm gonna turn Jake. I'm turning Jake and Cam, or I'm turning Jake and Pat off. Yeah. I wanna Cam. Okay. One last thing here. I want to solo Cam out. Because I know Cam, you're the big Boston guy, and we heard the news not too long ago that your 45-year in the booth play-by-play announcer Jack Edwards has announced his retirement. I just want to get your thoughts on what you thought of him throughout his career.
He is one of the very many voices that that Boston sports has throughout its years. Similar situation over with the Celtics. Their longtime announcer since 1981. His last game was called at the end of the regular season this year, which is very sad because that's my favorite part about tuning into the local Boston broadcast is the announcers and how amazing they are and how much memory and nostalgia they carry throughout my life, and Boston calls it, so it's sad, but hopefully I know that they're I know that they're getting old and fucking shit happens, so but I'm glad we got them while we got them, and it was fun while it lasted.
All right, that's very interesting. I always remember Jack Edwards as one of the most kind of homerish play-by-play announcers
Because he was the greatest.
in the league. I remember one game he was kind of bashing the officials because something didn't go Boston's way, but he just seems like an interesting play-by-play guy. But I'm sure he's going to be missed. I saw tweets from the Boston Bruins, thanking Jack for his long tenure in the booth, saying that he was one of the best to do it. But we heard that news earlier this month. And of course, one of his most memorable calls is that one in Game 7 when Boston came back and beat Toronto. And just how fitting is it that Boston's first round series for Jack Edwards' final season is going to be against the Toronto Maple Leafs. All right, that is going to wrap things up here on the Stanley Cup Pod. Thank you all for listening. The Stanley Cup playoffs get underway on Saturday, March 20th, with a doubleheader on TBS. First up at 2 o'clock will be the New York Islanders taking on the Carolina Hurricanes, and that will be followed by the
March.
Toronto. I'm sorry. Okay, I'll rephrase that. Because I
You want to be there? Yeah, you're good. I'm gonna say thank you after, so can you turn my mic up?
yeah, sure.
Say thank you.
We won't make any jokes. We want to say thanks for having us.
Can we talk about how big? I mean,
I need a full thing here. I don't remember where. That's great.
You have the capability of cutting things, right? And like kind of piecing it together.
Yes.
no, actually, we're gonna have to run
And
this whole.
we
together.
this is all going to be live in front of
including
the
Anna's-
entire university.
Bears and all.
I have more production classes next semester where I might actually have to film stuff live.
Can't believe that.
Oh, live with us?
Possibly.
Yeah. Who is? He's gonna film stuff live next semester.
Let's
With
go.
us.
We better
Jake's
get our shit
broken, with
together.
Jake's broken legs.
You better get this shit together,
Well,
guys.
hopefully he'll be mostly healed by the time the
Damn
semester
right, I'm gonna be
starts.
shooting trees over you all day long.
I think he'll be there.
He's going to be dunking.
Yeah, actually, they
Hey,
increased
don't let
my
don't
vertical.
let Jada see that plate.
I've been playing a lot of 5v5 basketball
that is
directly.
funny.
All right.
Yeah, what? This
All
is
right,
your point?
I'm gonna wrap it up here.
Yep, go.
All right. Well, all right, that'll wrap things up here on the Stanley Cup Pod. Really appreciate you guys listening to my first show. The Stanley Cup playoffs get underway on Saturday, April 20th, with a doubleheader on TBS beginning at 2 o'clock Pacific time. It'll be Game 1 between the Islanders and the Hurricanes, followed at 5 with the Game 1 of Maple Leafs and Bruins. On Sunday will be a quadruple header all across the networks of ESPN. Starting at 9:30 will be Game 1 of Tampa, Florida. That will be on ESPN. Then at noon, Game 1 of Caps Rangers. That'll also be on ESPN. 4 o'clock will be Game 1 of Colorado and Winnipeg. That'll be on ESPN2. And at 7 o'clock, you will have the Game 1 between Nashville and Vancouver on ESPN. You can catch all the games of the Stanley Cup playoffs across the networks of ESPN, TNT, TBS, True TV, and also streaming on Max. And your home once again for the Stanley Cup Final starting on June 8th will be ABC. And they also kind of hinted that there might be another animated simulcast on Disney Channel and Disney XD during the Stanley Cup Finals. So maybe stay tuned for that. Thanks for listening to the Stanley Cup Pod.